Starting Buendia was an idealistic act and a labor of love. It still is. When I returned to San Francisco in 1967, after serving in the Peace Corps in Peru, I soon connected with Tina Page. We both completed our master's in early childhood education, had young children, and we both felt passionate about the value of spontaneous play. At that time, it was difficult to find schools that actually listened to children's ideas, and we decided that we needed to start our own school. After a 9-month search in the Mission District of San Francisco, a possibility emerged on Guerrero Street. The physical building was a wreck, but there was a large yard with majestic Italian pine trees and birds and squirrels busy on the branches. With $5,000 between us, we signed a lease for $500 a month. Then we gathered our family, our friends, and we began the work. First, we tore down walls. We built steps and a deck, constructed monkey bars, reinforced the foundation, repaired and varnished the floors, and a lot more. We also built a playful treehouse with 3 levels. Licensing requirements weren't as strict then. My mom found our first child-sized chairs and tables at a public school that was closing. And then she continued to gather materials and supplies from garage sales and thrift stores. We opened Buendia with 3 children in October 1977. Along with Patrick Murphy, another teacher. By the end of the month, there were 12 children, and by spring, we were fully enrolled at 24. We charged $75 a month. At the end of our first year, we were granted nonprofit status. An after-school program evolved, and school buses made Buendia a drop-off site. The interaction between the preschoolers and the kindergartens of first and second graders was wonderful. They read stories, they created dances, they organized games, and put on shows for the younger children. They made costumes, chose their own music, and built props. Everyone was involved. We kept our tuition affordable and didn't have a budget for materials or equipment. We weren't able to even pay ourselves during the first few years. I had a night job for 8 years to help support my family. We understood that the field of early childhood education didn't pay much, but we went ahead anyway, excited about creating an arts-focused place that belonged to children. We just had to follow our dreams, and when we did, other doors opened to support us. Early childhood is a life in itself. It's not merely a stepping stone into adulthood, which to me means you don't have to understand why kids are doing everything. Just have to appreciate them and know they have a path, they have their own path, and they can really, I think, progress at a level if they're respected in their choices.
My eyes are blue. My eyes are blue too.
They are, look at that.
Each week, we try to do something fun when the kids come in so they can answer a question. What color are your eyes? ¿De qué color son tus ojos?
These are what color are my eyes. Oh. Here's my eyelashes. And look at your eyes. They're brown.
They have to look in the mirror, and some of them really don't know what color their eyes are. It's basically just the idea of that we respect what they say and what they draw, and we think what they do is important, so we keep all of these and put them up for display, and when they come in, they love to see their artwork.
I really feel that at Buendia is where I really learned how to work with children and how to respect them and their families.
My brother got a new piano.
Oh, everyone's getting all these new great things. And you're also so strong. Ow. There's another arm.
What I learned from Yvonne at Buendia is that you get down on children's level, you listen to them. It's because I was so used to, oh, do this, do that, do that. I was not at all used to spending the time listening to children. Because once children feel like you're listening to them, they feel like you care about who they are. And they really learn to trust you.
The school is for the children. It's not for the adults to manage them. Sometimes children need to concentrate on what they're doing, and it's artificial to say, okay, everybody, let's move on here, stop what you're doing, and yank the kids somewhere else. We try to minimize those kinds of things because there's really no purpose to it, except it's adult intervention, and it's a convenience of adults. If they follow their own interests, they're going to be better learners.
Then she saw someone that was coming near her. Said yes.
Then she saw someone that was coming.
In this society, we really center on the logical, mathematical, linguistic model. But there's also lots of other kinds of intelligences, like spatial, visual, musical, interpersonal, emotional intelligence. And it's sort of like we're wasting all this potential by making all kids sort of learn the same way.
One day there was a little girl who lived with her parents. Let's see her parents. Who's the parents?
A lot of stuff tends to be oriented around stories because children really respond to stories.
What am I stuck in? The spider web. I'm a spider.
And then we, have this wonderful space downstairs to work in small groups on movement activities and a lot on stories that I take their dictation and other teachers take dictation.
And then they lived happily ever after the end.
It was a big bad wolf. And then they lived happily ever
After, and then they married. Your princess didn't marry.
Then they did marry? No, they did not marry.
Your prince married, and your monkey married, and they are.
All right.
I'm gonna carry it.
Children just have a need to tell stories, and they might seem nonsensical or silly to adults, but I think children work through a lot of their ideas and thinking by putting ideas together.
And then we could go on a plane.
So it just serves a lot of purpose, intellectual, cognitive kinds of experience. And they all like to do it. There isn't a child in the school that does not want to do a story.
And then pick me up from Buendia, and then we will go on the airplane in the airport
Where are you going to go on the plane?
to Trinidad to pick up Granny.
Trinidad.
Hi, Granny. Hi, Kyla.
Come with me at the airport.
Hi, Granny. I want to be Kyla.
So we take the dictation, and then that same day we act out the story, and the child serves as the director.
I want to be the airport.
You want to be the airport?
Yeah.
Okay. And Caleb is the airport over here, so you're going to fly all the way to Caleb.
The children are really learning on a lot of levels. It's a fabulous social interaction. They're in charge of their story, so they're doing active decision making. It's not something that is hard for them, but it is very empowering. You know, they're making all these decisions. And that everybody's listening to their words is wonderful.
Once there was a princess, and she loves to dance. She liked to dance so much. And she once lived in a castle, and she danced with a king.
Ever since the school began, we've been creating 2 amazing shows a year based on the children's ideas, a winter show and one at graduation.
Presentando
The squirrels, butterflies, and spiders.
las ardillas, mariposas y arañas.
We get together as a staff and we read through the stories that the children have been telling and acting out, and choose themes and characters that they've been interested in. Then, working in small groups, the children create scenes for the show and paint backdrops and make fabulous props. By the time we work on the graduation show, the children have learned so much about working with their friends cooperatively. Then I compose songs and music for our band to play. We always have a live band, and it's made up of the Buendia teachers, friends, and family who are musicians. The whole community has a wonderful time at our magical extravaganzas.
Okay, Luke is gonna start and then you come in. I'm into making instruments as well. We try to make stuff from recycle, like boxes, make guitars or drums out of, buckets. And basically just show them a rhythm, and then as we become more comfortable, then I can show them 2 3s or 4 6s or 4 8s. They learn how to work together with one another, and also counting. They have to count and remember the certain patterns they played before. So there's a whole lot of math and community in it as well. Alele, alele, so this time, if you hear the rhythm, you can dance. Oh, Dave, go, Dave. Yes.
When we got our tuned xylophones, I realized that we approach music making through exploration of materials, similarly to our approach with visual art and science in the school. The xylophones have removable keys, and by setting the instruments up with a pentatonic or 5-tone scale, all of the notes the children play are consonant. So they become musicians instantly and are able to play together as a band and feel great about their playing. They can move around from instrument to instrument, and they learn to listen to each other and develop their rhythmic and melodic ideas. As a teacher, I like to step back and give them the space to take as much or as little time as they need to develop their playing. And I'm really glad they have the opportunity to work with a full range of voices. We have 2 sopranos, an alto tenor, and a bass xylophone. The children really love the resonance of the bass.
So the first sound is going to be 2 letters, T and H together. Who's ready to start those 2 letters?
Me!
All right, Caleb, go for it. So if you forget, this will be a little example for you to look at.
A lot of families want to know what our academic program is.
So the next word is will.
First grade skills are getting pushed to kindergarten skills. Kindergarten skills are now getting pushed into preschool because the society is very worried about their children's future, and they're doing it the wrong way. They're trying to speed up development instead of letting it unfold naturally.
I wish it was called Wubble You. But it isn't.
I really do think birth through age 8 is a period of time like they feel in many places in Scandinavia.
And that'll be at lowercase a. We can start
It's a time when you learn skills. You don't have to learn reading and writing at age 5. By the time of 8, you'll pull all those skills together. Who has to say that a child at 5 has to know how to read? And it doesn't mean they're going to be a successful adult, but if they could learn to be self-confidence, if they could learn how to be problem solvers.
So the next word, there will be. Yeah. So we'll do our little B here.
Kids are always wanting to write something. It's either a sign or a letter to their parents or something special they want to put on the wall. And a teacher is there to help them figure out how to do that. But at other times, this kind of activity takes place in a small group atmosphere with a teacher and a group of children that are interested in this. And we call this interactive writing.
The next sound after the a. What do you think?
A.
A lot of you have these letters in your names.
I have A.
Nice. Okay.
And
then we have.
I have M.
That's part of the same sound.
At that time, the children and the teacher decides what they want to write. They discuss the kinds of letters that might be in these words and how to actually make this sign. And they do it together.
Like lemon. Yes.
And all kinds of letters and spacing are accepted. So it doesn't matter how it looks particularly, it's more that the child gets a chance to participate in this activity. It's fun for them, they feel empowered, and over the year, everybody sooner or later wants to do this.
Yeah, they're gonna yell it really loud.
So when you're done with your exclamation, whoa. Wow, that's almost as long as the sentence. There will be
monkeys and
fairies.
And you can see their labels and their sentences posted all over the school. And in that way, children can see their work and see that it's valued, and they feel proud that they were part of the process.
These two things tell us something really special about Russian. Uy, ¿qué es eso, Russian? ¿Qué es?
Personality bags is an activity that we do at the beginning of the year, and the children bring 3 things from home that tell us about who they are, and they share these items in front of the group.
I pretty like it because it's a tunnel.
It's a tunnel. Ah. Could you connect it to show us how it goes? How your tunnel connects to the other piece?
What happens later after the activity, after the child has shared the 3 objects, is the children raise their hand and tell us what they've learned about the things that the children have brought.
He really likes trains.
He really likes trains. Thank you, Tommy. Le gustan los trenes mucho.
This is a very good moment for the sharer, because they feel that they're getting feedback, they see what things other children have learned, what they like about the objects they have brought, and it brings them closer to each other.
Our dress-up room is one of the major centers of the school.
Quite fancy. I like your shiny gold pants. You're welcome.
They just love to go in there and they pick something out to do, either dress up or use something in the little kitchen, or get a doll and get a buggy. Boys and girls are going around the school with their buggies. And this is where everybody wants to be. It's where all the drama occurs. You could do so much. You could pretend you're Spider-Man. You could be a fairy. You could be a mom and dress up a baby with all these different babies that we have. We have a whole kitchen area, and that's where they're cooking. And if you come in here, it might be a restaurant.
This is the cake, sweetie.
fantasy play is how children internalize events and how they understand events. And they use the facts to help them know about the world. And they use facts in their own way. So you might think it's crazy to put a block in a stroller and go through the school and say, this is my pet lizard. But that's what they do. They practice all kinds of their own theories, their own thoughts, their worldview. You know what? So I think maybe we go. So let's see, what shall we do here? One of the important things that we do at Buendia is to help children resolve conflicts.
Let's wait till he gets finished and then move back a little and then you can have a turn. Just move back a little.
You know, for example, a child might be too close to another child and push. They're not used to such close contact, and their impulses come first before using words.
So you finish your trick.
So part of what we do is try to help them with that.
Thank you.
We're not always successful, but we start the dialogue. Actually, I don't think sharing is a preschool skill, and I know I probably shouldn't say that, but I think we're expecting too much of young children, and until they have ownership of an object or something themselves, they really can't move on and give it to another child. So if they have a special Thomas train and someone else wants it, there's always that tug, and the second child wants to grab it, and then there's this conflict, and what do you do? So what we do first of all is sort of figure out ahead of time what toys this might happen with and have 5 or 6 of those. So we have 12 Thomas trains and we have 5 dump trucks, not just 2. So that if there is sharing, and there will be, it's not so devastating and so hard on the kids. We look at children's behavior in terms of growth and development, not in terms of good or bad. I think conflicts are inevitable. It's just part of the preschool experience. It's often the first time that children are in a large social setting, and they just don't have the capacity yet to control their impulses. Okay, so this is what we'll do. Come here.
Elizabeth pushed. No, I did not.
I think children's interactions are just different than adult interactions, and we have to always be thoughtful in our responses.
I really didn't.
So before intervening when children can't solve a problem themselves,
No, I did not.
we observe the situation to see what's going on and if they really need a teacher's help or they could figure out a solution themselves. And then if a teacher does need to get involved, we try to solve the problem together with the child because both children think that they're right. So they need to feel understood. And that's really the first step. So each child gets to express how they're feeling.
So you know what? You play together all day long. And sometimes
And finding a solution that feels right to them is important.
What would help?
We help them see what capacities they have. Once again, it's all social interaction and learning to get along with other kids with different thoughts.
You could just say, hey, that hurt my feelings.
Liam, did you hear that?
And one of the important things we try not to do is make children apologize. But instead, we try to help them listen to one another. So you might have to accommodate or negotiate. And that's hard to do when you're 3 and 4 years old. What brains like best? A sensory diet. And actually, what does that mean? It means that children are going to put hands in their mouth. They're going to put fingers in their mouth. They're going to touch everything. They're going to run and jump and have a rough and tumble. They like to jump off of hay bales onto big pillows, or in the house, they love to jump over couches and have that anti-gravity kind of feeling and that pushing and pulling.
Oh no, Snippy's falling. Oh.
Roughhouse play is such an important part of children's lives. It's what they do naturally. And they love to jump and swing and tumble. It's all part of learning about their body and how they are in the world, how they fit spatially in the world. So We try to give them as many opportunities to do that as possible.
A curved stomach? Oh my goodness, look at all these curved stomachs.
Children are really instinctive movers. That's kind of the first way that they learn about the world. Even little babies, as they're crawling from point A to point B, they're learning about time.
Giant steps, heavy.
So there's so many things that we experience through our bodies that we may not through words. And really this kinesthetic modality, which is experiencing the world through your body, is often, I think, very much ignored in the educational system.
The jungle. Freeze! Can you show me a shape that is curved?
We like to get messy here, and our kids run around barefoot, and in the summertime they run around in their underpants, and we play with water and glue and flubber and things that stick and never come out. They're gonna paint, and they're gonna spill, and they're gonna roll around in the sand.
I'm a big believer in, kids need to play, they need to play outdoors, they need to get dirty. They're in their element when they're in kind of a outdoor space with a little dirt and, allowed to get down and wallow around in it. So I'm all for it.
We encourage them to go barefoot because they feel where their body ends in the earth, their balance. It's much better for their spatial orientation. That's important for you to carry yourself and to know how you stand in the world, and it gives you a lot of self-confidence. And then all the running is also balance, and also just confidence in where you are. And lots of times you don't know, they'll bump into things, so they're really not sure how close they are to something.
Me and Eli first.
How did you make that?
I put tape on you and then I did it and then I did.
I think it's important that the early staff were dancers, visual artists, musicians. I think having artists in the school meant that they brought their unique perspective also, and working artists.
Just experiment and see what it feels like.
I was very fortunate to be a dancer at Buendia because Yvonne went to great lengths to accommodate the artist's working schedule. So if we had time in the studio, we could bring back our experience, our own creative process back to the children.
This mudra,
For example, as an Indian dancer, teach the children mudras that could build up small motor skills.
If you take the side of your stick and you tap it, you can make different textures.
I made a coil. Now I'm going to make a ball.
So you can make all your parts.
Art and science actually are very closely linked. It's exploratory and it's tactile. It's non-judgmental. It belongs to them. It's their creation, and that's what's so beautiful about art.
I turned it into a chair.
Oh, great idea.
Meanwhile, you're also learning all kinds of skills. You're learning volume. You're looking at weight. You can learn balance by doing woodworking and saying, okay, am I going to glue this on here? Is it going to fall over?
I made green with red and blue and yellow.
When you're doing easel painting, you're learning just about the expanse of the page, but you're also learning by doing it over and over again that drips always go down. So that's gravity. It's like a ball always comes down. And those are the concrete experiences that children nearly need before moving on to abstract concepts.
Yeah, look what happens when you mix all the colors together.
Ding dong, somebody's here. Ding dong, somebody's here.
And then by the time they're a little older, they learn that there's edges to a page, and they start to make that a consideration in their painting. And then when they're a little older, they start having stories about it.
This is the ears, and this is the eyes.
The process is more important than the product has sort of become a mantra of Buendia, because we don't want children to worry about what they're doing, but you want them to enjoy the path they're taking, the steps they're taking to get from A to B. And sometimes parents and teachers, we all do it, will say, what is it to a child? And they say, well, then they'll have to say, it has to be something. It can't just be my creation. And so we try to affirm what they're doing by mentioning physical properties of something that they've made. Oh, I noticed you use a lot of blue in this, or that line, that's a squiggly line going through a straight line, or I like the way you made all these circles. You were working hard on that.
Tell me what you did there to get all those colors. How did you do
I
it?
put it blue and red and pink, and then I put white, and then it started to get colors on the white, like this. Look at.
Oh, yeah. That really works, doesn't it?
Over the years at Buendia, scribbling has become a very important activity. Wow. Parents will think, oh, they're just scribbling. They're just scribbling. That's not. Can't you draw something, We found that making marks is an expressive beginning to children's art experience, and they love making them. It's not teacher-driven. They use their own initiative. It's just in the act of the physical act of doing that they enjoy so much. There was a researcher in the 50s and 60s, Rhoda Kellogg, who went to about 12 countries and observed children's drawings and scribbles, and found that throughout these countries, children all made the same marks. Even if they didn't have pencils to use, they used whatever was available in their culture. So it's an important developmental step.
We have nice markers, nice little markers. Wow.
What I've seen at a lot of other schools that are play-based, when a child is given a set of some material to do some work with, there is a particular project in mind that the adults have for the children. So the pieces of fabric will be cut in particular shapes. There'll be a limited set of colors of fabric to choose from, and then they can assemble them into, say, a 9-patch square and make a pillow. Which is a fine project, and there really is nothing wrong in that. But it's a different approach from providing a sack of material that are random shapes in a wide range of colors and just telling the kids to do what they want.
Something that has been so precious to us about this school is the art. Jonah's become this incredible recycler, not just recycling, but any packaging or box or paper that comes into our house. He's always saying, "Don't throw that away," because I'm going to make art out of it. And so we have this whole section of our kitchen now with just piled with stuff. And it's not just an idea; he really does it. He's got these rolls of tape and he's got all these boxes. And just this morning he was like, "Oh, I'm going to make a jetpack that it runs on honey, and I'm a bee." And I think that's really something that Buendia gave him, is this idea that there's no such thing as trash.
This is the oxygen mask. So when you go underwater, it gives you this, and then it goes like this, and then it turns into a submarine, and then you go. And the wires make it work. And this is supposed to be an antenna that sends signals. And this is a protection for the wire.
The art projects that are successful at this age are open-ended. We don't direct the children. We pretty much see what their interests are and try to help them and guide them through doing projects that are of interest to them. So one of the things that I like to do is provide recycled materials, set them out, and see how children put them together and what ideas they come up with.
Want to make a radio like me?
And they usually surprise me and inspire me, really.
Being creative is something that children need. It really feeds brain development, and it really helps children with self-expression.
I have beautiful fabrics over here too. Very beautiful.
And you really get a sense of who the child truly is by how they freely create something. Where the child is developmentally, how they see themselves, how they see themselves in the world, what they think about the world as they are creating.
Where's the glitter? Excuse me, Charlie. I need to put on the tail. It has a tail! I need black.
Acá está el negro. ¿Qué otro color? Mira, ahí tienes el azul. En cuanto decía, uno parte de las ideas de ellos. Le facilitas el material, le facilitas los objetos que tú quieres que trabajen y una vez que está expuesto en la mesa, los niños empiezan a hacer y crear su propio trabajo. Ellos lo hacen y uno respeta sus ideas y el proceso. Sofía, cuando termines me lo pones en la otra mano. Yes, wow. Están muy buenos los huevos. Muy marrones. Wow, mire. Beautiful. Lindo.
¿Quién tiene una piña? ¿Quién tiene leche?
Yo.
¿Quién tiene una naranja?
Isaías tiene.
Isaías tiene una naranja. Uy, wow, ¿qué es esto, Antonio? ¿Qué son?
Zapatillas.
Zapatillas. Cuéntanos sobre tus zapatillas.
Me gusta.
Bilingual education is extremely important to my husband and I. We're both Mexican Americans and we don't speak Spanish. It was lost in our generation.
Vamos a ver qué traje aquí. Rice. En español se dice.
We were born in the late 60s, and although our parents, grandparents, and aunts and uncles all spoke Spanish within the household, they emphasized English. So it wasn't until 19 years ago when my husband and I moved here to the Bay Area that we felt that it was okay to speak Spanish.
Zoe.
Tomate.
Tomate.
I went Buendia School to instill a sense that this is more than another language. This is an actual manifestation of a group of people's behavior throughout history that actually is a lifestyle somewhere else.
En español. Cacayote. Cacahuete.
Every time I see a teacher doing that, I always go out of my way to try to say to them, thank you. Thank you for helping my child reclaim something that society has taken away from them.
You know, it's not as if the Spanish curriculum there is teaching children how to speak Spanish, but it certainly validates the children who come to school only speaking Spanish, that the language they speak is an important language to speak. And not only are they validated, the children who don't speak Spanish see them being validated. So then they learn that speaking Spanish is an important and valid thing to be doing. And, you know, so, and then they pick up some Spanish, and if you happen to be somewhere where people are speaking Spanish, they're like, oh, I recognize that number.
Negro, blanco y verde. Tú eres
This part of California used to be Mexico, and there's a huge Latino community here, and it seems crazy for us not to learn Spanish as a second language. It just seemed very important, and since I had lived in Peru for 3 years earlier and worked with art and children there, I really wanted to continue that, to honor the different cultures in the community. And the first thing that seemed very important is to have a diverse staff, because you could talk about diversity as much as you want, but if you don't have people there from different cultures bringing in their ideas, it's just not the same.
Toma tu tiempo, Isa. ¿Te acuerdas que antes lo hiciste muy rápido? ¿Y entonces qué pasó cuando lo hiciste? Mi hija vino con un idioma español, sin ninguna palabra en inglés igual que yo, y ella fue expuesta al segundo idioma, por ejemplo, en este caso el inglés, para ella fue muy importante. Aprendió el segundo idioma, que era el inglés, pero mantuvo el español y ahora ella es bilingüe. Para el que aprende, va a tener 2 idiomas, va a tener un mejor futuro porque tenemos en un país donde está la cultura, la diversidad muy grande, que crece el español, la raza latina, y esos niños van a estar preparados para enfrentarse a 2 mundos y quizás a un tercero si aprenden el japonés o el chino.
It's getting higher. Sure is. Woo, there you go. You got it. For Earth Week, I came up with this idea of having a pollution tank. I didn't know it was a good idea or bad idea to have garbage in the school, but we filled our terrarium up with water, and we asked the children to find garbage on the way. People have thrown garbage on our street, so find garbage and we'll put it in the water and we'll see what happens in 2 weeks. And just think, would fish like to live in that kind of water?
Despacito, despacito, despacito.
At the end of the week, the fish tank is stinky and smelly and polluted and awful. But you know, the 3 and 4-year-olds understand pollution. They understand the need to pick up the garbage. They understand how it's a problem that happens collectively. They understand that it's something they can play a part in changing. And they couldn't tell you about it, but they know it and they will never forget it.
I have a question for you.
Yeah, sweetie?
Also, part of it is to go home and ask your parents something. Whoever takes care of you at home, if they shut off the water when they brush their teeth, if they shut off the light when they go from room to room.
Bonnie? Yeah? Do you brush your teeth?
I do brush my teeth.
Do you turn the water off when you need to?
No, why am I supposed to turn the water off when I brush my teeth?
Because it saves water and you're a member of the Earth Club.
Cool, I'll do that.
Congratulations, you know how to protect the earth. You know how to take care of the earth.
Ooh,
And then when they come back, they're supposed to tell us, and then they make an Earth Day button, and then we say, now you're a member of the Earth Club.
Water the plants. Turn the water off when I'm done washing my hands.
Wow, you're doing a lot of things, huh?
No E-A-E-A-R-T-H-C-L-U-B.
Hold it up so everybody can see it.
Metal.
Metal, good. Oh, hold it up. What is that? Good.
It's a milk bottle.
This generation, if any generation, I think, can sort of, will be a very conscious adults of how to take care of the earth. We don't want to make it scary for them, and we don't want to talk about a lot of dangerous situations, because they're only 3 and 4. We want them to have a positive, that they can have a positive influence on the world. Congratulations. You're now a member of the Earth Club. You want your mom to put it on for you? You know how to take care of the earth.
Right, you know how to take care of the earth. I know you're going to do it really conscientiously. There you go, cute stuff. Okay, guess what kind of muffins we're making today? Blueberries. Okay, this is the big.
Can I do the egg?
And we'll see. We're going to go around in a circle, and when your turn comes, we'll let you know. And then this is
We're doing hearts
a
again.
pinch of salt. You know what a pinch is? Just like this. You pinch your finger. That's how it makes a pinch of salt. Can everyone make a pinch of salt? Make a pinch. Yeah, there is a sugar plum.
We always think of cooking as a science. Children learn about, gravity, measurements, liquids, solids.
You know what the butter does inside the muffin? Level. There you go. You want to help it with a spoon, Wiley? With another spoon?
No.
No? Okay, let it drip then. All right,
I
Martina's
have to
turn.
my other spoon.
You want to let Martina do one, and then you can do another one.
It's dripping, come down.
Would you like me to help you?
Yeah.
They always want to crack the eggs. That's one of the most popular things to do, is cracking the eggs, and one of the most challenging things to do. And it's fun to watch them try to figure out, how to crack an egg, and get the egg into the bowl without the shell and without mushing it or whatever. But it gets mushed, and we eat shells, and it's okay.
Now I want to do egg.
You can crack, yes.
I want to crack.
Who wants to keep working on the butter? Put it right here. Try again. Let it all out. Let it all out. Open it wide. There you go.
They do cooperate. They do learn that they will get a turn. I think it's, they're anxious and they don't want to be passed up, and the teachers help them relax and know that they're gonna, everyone's gonna have an opportunity, because we do a lot of work on everyone will get to do whatever they want to do. Sometimes even when you've seen Megan's stories, when there might be one princess in the story and there are 5 people that want to be a princess, and then we just adjust it. We ask the storyteller or the storyteller, can there be 5 princesses? Sure, there can be 5. Yeah, so everyone gets to be a princess. Or can we do 5 eggs? I guess we could put 5 eggs in the muffins. We don't, but we try to give everyone a chance to do something.
We have a whole day to do this soup, so we don't need to rush.
We want to give kids a really good start, and it's the responsibility of parents and of the school to help children during the first 6 years of their lives, when their bodies are developing at a rapid rate. Each day the children get to prepare a healthy vegetarian snack. They get to wash produce, cut up fruits and vegetables, they grate cheese. We arrange plates of food and set tables, mix and bake muffins and cookies and birthday cakes and all kinds of great things.
It's Chinese New Year.
When we have cultural celebrations, occasionally we may include a typical dish, like when we fry wontons for our Lunar New Year celebration. We don't usually make fried foods, but it's exciting for the children to fill the wrappers. They get to use water for glue with their fingers, and it's a special process that takes a lot of small muscle coordination, and the children really have to concentrate, and they have a lot of fun.
At Buendia, we celebrate a lot of holidays in non-traditional ways, really. We never talk about religion. We have a lot of people that celebrate Dia de los Muertos, and it's a big holiday in the Mission District. And it's really a way of celebrating death in a positive way. It's not a scary holiday. We ask children to bring in something that represents someone that died in their family, or an animal or a pet that they had that they remember, or something in their community. This is Malia, and this is a picture of her grandfather that died. And this is a spoon for someone that Lourdes knew, her tia Rebecca. And that's my dog Luna that came to Buendia for 14 years.
We do parades 2 times a year. At the time of Halloween and Dia de los Muertos, and then the other one is for Lunar New Year. It's just nice to get out of the school and traipse around the block and, have lots of stuff to bang on, and it's an adventure, and we don't know exactly what's going to happen. Parents get to hear some, the music and get excited and get to hang out with their kids. For the Fun House, activities go on for a few weeks, just making all of these fun, more, art projects, and all kinds of things to hang in the fun house. The part that I do with that is I have the kids make some sounds for the fun house, and we sit with a tape recorder, and part of it is just the fun of sitting with a tape recorder and hearing your voice back. Let's hear what those sound like. Let's listen back. Stone soup is what we do for Thanksgiving. It's the most important part, not to say I don't love my family and cooking dinner and all of that kind of thing, but to me, the way we celebrate holidays here is the essence of these holidays for me. The story is basically that there are some people without homes, and they go into the town and they ask that they need some food.
No. Do you have anything to eat?
But nobody wants to give them any until they say, well, we're making this stone soup, and it kind of gets everybody interested.
Yeah, pick something out to put in the soup. Let's see what kind of soup this is going to be. Some carrots.
To have a feeling about joy in life. I mean, really, that's the heart of it. Is I want the children to have a happy feeling about life.
One of the most important things we can do is to build partnerships with parents and make relationships with children. Because no matter what else you do, if you don't do that, you're not helping children cope in the wider world. You're not helping parents feel good about their children being here. And children can't learn unless they feel comfortable.
One thing I always notice is that everybody sits on the floor, the teachers too, and often children are sitting in teachers' laps. I mean, they always are. And I love that because it's in some ways it's preparing them for school in the future when they're going to have to learn to still themselves and listen. But it's also very warm, and it has the feeling of, of community time, of kind of coming together and talking things through or learning something.
We hope the atmosphere here is welcoming and inclusive. When we decided to try to start our own school, one of the objects was to make sure that we had a diverse population. Single parents, a variety of family structures, adopted families, and people that had jobs, people that didn't have jobs, students, just really support our neighborhood in that way.
She did it.
Yay!
I used to be a lawyer a long time ago and taught law school, and quit when Emma was born, and I'm a full-time dad now.
Numero dos.
Number 2.
We love being parents. It's just the best thing. I think we both feel like it's the best thing we've ever done in our lives.
It's the hardest thing we've ever done and the best thing we've ever done. You want to make some Mickey Mouse ones?
I think if we had started when we were 20 years younger, we'd probably have 10 kids. But our experience at Buendia is that the teachers realize that family isn't about just having a mom and dad and kids that are born biologically, and so that assumption isn't there. There are books about alternative families. I think overall Buendia was just a supportive community.
We were part of the Buendia larger family, and I felt that from the first potluck we went to, that we were just embraced like all the rest of the families were embraced.
We want the café y jugo.
Café y jugo? Okay,
Sí.
vamos. You get the jugo, I'll get the café. Nice camera, it's cool. I like the way it's shaped. It's shaped cool.
Yeah, you like it?
Yeah, I like it too.
Why do you like it?
Because I like it.
One thing that we really like as parents, I think in general, is parent breakfast, where we come and the child has made an apron and, you know, colored it and done, you know, some artwork with it, and then they give us a menu and we choose what we want to have for breakfast.
Let's put this here to dry. If it were a sunny day, they dry really quickly, but this might take a few hours.
I don't know how I inherited it. Somehow I'm the muffin maker on Parent Breakfast Day, which is a great way that we have of celebrating both mothers and fathers, where all families are welcome, and the children do everything for the parent breakfast. They bake, they prepare the menus, they make granola, they help cut the fruit for the fruit salad.
You two can go play outside
Buendia Family School, so breakfast for the families. Your server is Pearl. Yay!
Hay unas flores, qué bonito,
Thank you, Emma.
Por favor, seleccione su desayuno marcando el cuadro correspondiente. So I need to mark which one I want, okay?
Part of it is listening to the parents, what they want.
Can I have some ensalada de fruta?
Going over to the table and telling who's ever at the table what they want, either trying to serve themselves or have a teacher help them, and then putting the food in front of their parent or their guardian. And that's quite a sophisticated thing to do without eating first yourself. And then they're so proud of themselves when they actually can do it, get the granola to the table and get the muffin to the table.
There is definitely a feeling that we all form part of a whole, and we're all here with the obligation in a way to help each other out and to make things work properly for the benefit of everybody. But it's not just the obligation, it's the pleasure of making us advance, you know, day by day by day. The number one thing I have to say for me that we have all learned, not just our kids, but, you know, my husband and I, is the value of the togetherness that, you know, as a whole, that we can build upon our relationships with each other to create a wonderful experience. I mean, that is the number one thing for me.